before we understand what that cloud-based server is, let us get a little into the cloud computing thing. So cloud computing, the practice of using a network of remote servers. Okay, so this is the practice of using network of remote servers which are not locally located remotely, hosted on the internet. So these servers are hosted on internet and accessible also through internet to store, manage and process data rather than a local server or a personal computer. So the cloud computing is its concept of using remote servers to store the data, manage and process the data on these remote servers which are hosted on internet. Okay, so which means if you are using a cloud based server, the biggest advantage that you have is that is accessible through internet. Okay, whereas the local server which we are talking about, if you talk about a local server, that local server is accessible through LAN, local area network. Okay, so a server which is accessible through internet will be available anywhere in the world if you have internet, right? So that is the biggest advantage of a cloud based server, that your server will be accessible from anywhere in the world provided you have an internet connection. Fine. I get a bit of background noise. Anyone who is trying to speak or something? No? That's fine. Okay. So I told you about two options. You have data. You have an option of building your own server in your premises and then storing the data there. The other option that you have is put the data on the cloud-based server. So for cloud-based server, we came to this cloud computing concept and we have seen that this cloud computing talks about servers hosted on the internet, which means they can be accessed through internet from anywhere in the world. So local server is connected through LAN, local area network, and is accessible only within your premise. Okay, you cannot say that I will build a server in Bangalore and I will go and access it from San Francisco. That will not happen. But yeah, if that is through internet, you can go anywhere in the world. You can go to Kenya and access it. You can go to Colombia and access it wherever you want, right? So provided you have internet connection there, right? So nowadays, with the business models changing and the business dynamics changing a lot, you might have noticed nowadays smaller companies also have multiple offices. It's not just that a very big multinational company and all these things will have multiple offices. Small companies, 5-member companies also have different offices. One in this city, the other one in some other city, and one in a different country altogether. So companies do operate from different locations. They have small teams deployed in different countries and cities, right? So in this kind of a scenario where the requirement is this in this way, this cloud-based server is something which is very helpful to the companies, because you might not have your complete team concentrated in a particular physical location. You can have some part of your team in one country, the other part in some other country. So that is how it may be. Got it? So we are clear on this part. The cloud computing thing we have understood. The cloud-based server and the local server. How the difference is basically...
one question.
Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah, cloud computing, you are saying that how much security these things? Actually, we are maintaining all the customer related information in the server, in the sense we are putting into the different locations. So I mean, cloud computing we can access through anywhere, but how much security these things? So how security perspective this is very good or what?
Yes, it is good. Why it is good? I will tell you that. We just talked about this, two options, the cloud-based server and the local server, right? Let us now just, spend a couple of minutes to think on what are the advantages of the cloud-based server. The first advantage of the cloud-based server is that you don't have to spend a lot of money into installing that server. So this cloud-based server is basically provided by a service provider, okay? And you don't have to take care of the maintenance and installation and everything. So you will not go and build your servers on the cloud and all these things. usually this is provided by a service provider. So there is a service provider who provides this thing, who has the server, and you just pay a certain monthly charges and start accessing that. Okay. So that is this thing. That is one advantage, that you don't have to spend a lot of money. Initial cost will not be there. You don't have to take care of the maintenance of the server, because again the service provider is the person who's going to take care of it. Third advantage that you have here is that you don't have to take care of the data security also. So security thing that Pawan was just talking about. So data security, you don't have to worry on this, because it is taken care of by the service provider again. When we talk about security, there are again different aspects of security. One can be a natural disaster or something which happens. Then if you have a local server, what will happen? How will you retrieve the data? But if it's a cloud-based server or a service provider like Salesforce is providing you the service, they maintain multiple replicas of the data. So they do have multiple servers. They don't maintain your data on one single server, and I think we all understand this. For example, take a very simple example. Facebook.com. Okay, have you ever worried about a photograph that you have put on Facebook? Most of us might not have done that, right? Once we have put it on Facebook, we have just we have left it that okay fine, this photograph I can access it any time, right? But if you put the same kind of a photograph on your laptop, you might need to think that okay fine, if my hard disk crashes or something, right? So that way, so we are not worried about that the data will get lost from Facebook, because we know that okay fine, Facebook is taking care of it, and they do not have one. Do you think that Facebook just has one copy of your data or information? All the clients and all these users of Facebook, they just have one copy of this information, and they have kept it in one server in some particular city. Do you think so? And if there is an earthquake in that city and the server gets destroyed, Facebook is going to close their business from the next day? No. They have multiple copies of it in different cities. So even if there is a big earthquake, half of the world gets destroyed, Facebook is not going to close its business. So that is how it is. Or Gmail or Google, right? So that is. So the data is more secure there from this angle. From the other aspect also, when we talk about data theft and all, so that is the other aspect of security. So data destruction is one, or data theft is the second part. So I think what Pawan was asking was more towards the data theft side. So for data theft and to protect the data from theft and all that, for that also we have pretty high security aspects available in Salesforce, which allow you to control the security of the data. So you'll have the passwords, you'll have the activation codes. Anyone, anytime logging in from a different computer or from a new computer needs to provide the activation code which is received on the mobile phone. So that ways, right? So the security measures are pretty much there. You just have to make sure that you are utilizing those, right? So that ways. Hope that answers your question, Pawan. So, I mean, yeah, this is one question which comes into most of the people's mind the moment we start talking about a server which is on cloud. This is a question which comes into mind. I, very frequently come across this question from my clients, people who are, newly moving their data into cloud-based server. Biggest concern that they have is what about the security? Because the moment you say this is on cloud and this can be accessed from anywhere in the internet, that the thing that comes into mind is okay, so what about security? So the thing is, we just need to understand this thing. If you have let's say a big amount of money, do you keep it with yourself every time, or do you go and put it in bank, right? So we feel that our money is more secured in bank rather than being with us. So that is the thing. So bank will take better care of the money, and we might not be able to take care of it. So I cannot carry my money along with me, or I cannot keep it at home. Usually we do not do that, right? So that is the same concept with data also. So when you're putting it on a server like Salesforce.com server or something, which is on cloud, you are more or less kind of putting your money in the bank, right? So that is how it is. So from that aspect also it is pretty much secured. Just that you will have to take care of your security things until and unless you are not using a very common password which anyone can hack, until and unless you are not sharing your password with everyone, and so that sort of things if you are not doing, Salesforce from its side has pretty strict security measures. All right. So that is about the cloud computing part. So we have talked about the cloud computing aspect and the cloud-based server. And here we have a few models of cloud computing: software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. Okay. So cloud computing basically talks about the resources which are hosted on internet and which can be accessed through internet. Okay, and these are shared resources. So in this definition we talk about server, but server is not the only thing which can be part of the cloud computing. Okay, you can also have softwares there, you can also have platforms there hosted on the internet and which can be accessed from anywhere, right? So the way we talked about server being hosted on the internet and we are able to access the server from anywhere, similarly we can think of an application also in the same way, right? Software also, I can have the same kind of requirement. I might want my software to be hosted on internet and I should be able to use it from anywhere. Now if you have Microsoft Office installed on your computer, you purchase the license and everything and you got that installed on your computer, right? So you can use your Microsoft Office only from your computer. That's correct, right? So you cannot go and use it anywhere else if you do not have your own computer. So you might want to have a software which is again hosted on internet and you don't need to carry your computer or your PC along with you everywhere to access that software. Something like Gmail. Do you always access Gmail from your laptop? No. You might want to access it from a cyber cafe, you might want to access it from a computer at the airport or someone's office, wherever you might want to access it from your laptop, from your mobile. So that is software as a service. So that is a model where instead of the server, you are accessing the software which is hosted on the internet. Okay, so this software as a service, see, these are the examples. Email is one of those examples. All these social media applications, the Facebooks and the LinkedIn and the Twitter, you access it from anywhere. So that is a software which you have not installed on your local computer. So that is not hosted on your local computer. That is again hosted on the internet. Facebook, have you installed? Anyone? I have not installed Facebook.com. Anyone who has installed Facebook application or software? No, right? So that is, but we start using it. We start using it through internet. Wherever we have internet, we can start accessing Facebook. So that way. So that is about the software as a service. The same way you can have platforms to develop application hosted on internet. That will be platform as a service, and infrastructure is what we just talked about, the server. Okay. So these three models are there. You can have softwares hosted on internet, you can have platforms hosted on internet, and you can have infrastructure hosted on internet, right? And you don't need to have those things on your local premise or local server or local computer. Got it? So now we have understood the CRM, we have understood the cloud computing, and we have also understood the models of cloud computing. Now let us understand what